Peace. Welcome back. Drink later. This time it's regular Red Bull, as the wife says, monkey piss or whatever, cough syrup. She hates the shit. I don't blame her. I do too. But what do you do, right? All right, so part one got cut off. I don't know why, but it did. Gonna mute my part one there, but got it on the old tablet. So I don't know. Camera doesn't really do it justice for showing the video. I don't know why. Turn the brightness down on it. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, see? Now you can see my video. Okay, so it's backwards. But regardless, you know. Got my tablet going. Gonna turn it off right now. Actually. Come to think of it. There. See? She's off. Just a mirror reflection. Alright, sorry. Just being an idiot here. Alright. So, it got cut off when I was doing my hot lap of Spain there, right in the chicane there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to quit out and restart it because I fucked up like the first lap. Blah, blah, blah. Right, so let's just start it over again. For whatever reason, the stream just all of a sudden said, connection loss, and it's like, you know, you got 150 meg connection, you know, like, whatever, you know. Doesn't seem to be with the PS4, but PS4 Pro or whatever, but whatever. Nonetheless. So, if anybody else doesn't have the F1 app, where you get the F1 TV, whatever, I definitely recommend the F1 TV Pro. It's a freaking wicked app, man. Like, awesome. You get everything to do with the race, and you get full replays of everything a couple of days later for the support races. Otherwise, you can watch everything live. It's pretty awesome, I gotta say. So, yeah. Remember, midfield team, I mean, you can pick Haas, you can pick Renault, whichever, right? I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? I mean, you can pick McLaren, you know? I mean, it's just, it can't, the idea is not to pick, you know, kind of the top three teams, you know, which would be, you know, the Mercs, the Ferraris, and the Red Bulls, right? I mean, that's just kind of it's what it's been for the last you know what I mean, 10 years, right? I mean, we're not talking about the, you know, early 2000s anymore, you know, where fucking McLaren was competitive, or, you know, Braun GP in 2009 fucking, you know, bought out the Jaguar fucking company, and, you know, or team, or was it Toyota team, or one of them, I don't know, but they bought out the team and they frickin' won the frickin' championship because Ross Braun went there. But still, there was, you know, there's a lot of other teams that were competitive 10 years ago that aren't now, you know. But now, I don't know, this with Ferrari kind of being hobbled, it's nice to see. I mean, I know the Mercs are a little bit ahead, but I mean, come next year, they're going to lose that advantage. And from the shit that Racing Point did, where yeah they took a penalty, but I mean, really, if you watch this weekend, they talk about it because you know they're not going to have to use tokens to upgrade a lot of their parts on their car that every other team in the paddock's going to have to spend tokens on. So just watch 2021. You might have Racing Point as, I can see Racing Point being, depending on, if Vettel goes to Racing Point, I tell you, they're second, if not fucking first for the drivers. Guaranteed. Just because of the restrictions with the upgrades. And with the already knowing with what's going on with the ordeal that we've been going through for however long, right? We all know what we're talking about here, right? So, they, next year won't be messed up like this year. I mean, so what if there's no people there? They'll still frickin' hold the frickin' races. I mean, it'll probably be a full calendar regardless of whatever restrictions are going on. So, I think with the limits for what they're already introducing, and I mean, like, look at what they're already doing. I mean, when was the last time mid-season did you see regulation changes for the rules? I mean, this is unprecedented. I mean, how many laps today? If you rewatch quali, I mean, how many laps today were called? It was one after the other. I mean, it's the way it should be, but at the same time, it's like, they came out with that rule of the minimum 143 for, that track for, a cool down or an out or an in lap or whichever, right? But I mean, people were 10 to 25 seconds off that. What was all that shit? I mean, like, realistically, like, is the idea that you guys just don't want Hamilton to break Schumacher's records and stuff? Is that what it is? Like, you want to do it so that everybody ends up taking a penalty? Well, did you not notice that the two Mercs made sure that they weren't anywhere close to that white line in Parabolica there for last corner? They made sure they had, like a half mile for that white strip at the edge of the track. They still blew everybody out of the water. But like I say, 2021, you get all the restrictions for the upgrades and everything else, and you got Racing Point that's got a free pass of like literally everything that the Mercedes has, and the Mercedes isn't going to get a free pass on that stuff. Like, that's the problem. Mercedes sold them that shit, but now that shit is going to give Racing Point an advantage. I mean, I'm surprised they never, foresaw that, I mean, like, they wouldn't have known that there was, different rule and regulation changes coming on. I mean, like, I don't know, like, still, it's just, I don't know. And Ricardo, his performance with that Renault, it's like, nice. I don't care if they burn through freaking engines and take a grid penalty here and there. Like, for what they did there, that was impressive in the last two races. They were competitive. So back to part one there. We did the other one where we were first at the stock is 20, right, for the AI difficulty. So we were 4 seconds ahead of Stroll, just on a kind of an easy lap there. I only did the one. Went out again. Kind of was hit with a little bit of the Red Bull and vodka, so it was kind of impeding me slightly. But we were still about a second ahead. But I know, with the vodka and stuff, I mean, it's at least, it's at least a second and a half for sure, right? So I'm going to put it up to 75. That's where I had part one, and that's where it cut off. So we're just gonna basically continue right off from there, and you know, I'm on this one here. I'm gonna shut up, and you know, I'm gonna do the one lap, and then I'm gonna go into the pits, and I'm gonna do the, you know, rest of the 18 minutes with just doing laps. Um, Again, remember, weather clear, midfield car. And again, I say to put the race distance to 25 at least, just because it adds the formation lap with the safety car, because on the 3 to 5 lap things, it doesn't add that aspect, and I'm not sure if a safety car would come out. I don't think it would. So it's, I mean, come on, we're racing this to have the full, you know, full shebang, right? So put it to 25, and you get the proper experience, right? That's realistic for everything, right? Obey the flags, everything else, right? You get a yellow flag in a sector, let off, you know, and then resume your throttle again, but make a noticeable decrease in speed. You won't get a penalty then, as long as you let off for like a second, you know, hammer it down after that, and you're fine. But yeah, nonetheless. So we'll start the session, and we'll continue along. Again, every second add 10 or subtract 10 from the difficulty. You know, it could be on new tracks too, right? If it's a new track for you, and you know, because I mean, it's a lot easier to learn your setup and how to get better if you're being challenged. If you're not being challenged, then it's like, well, what's the difference? Nobody's behind me anyways. I'm a half a lap ahead. You know, I've only raced 5 laps. You know, I mean, you're not going to learn how to be any quicker, right? I mean, racing a car that's in front of you and seeing where they're pulling away from you, or where you can gain on them, and you know, and then too, you translate that into, you know, changing your suspension setup or your wing setup, or whichever, right? I mean, because like if you're playing F1, I hope you guys are doing setup stuff and stuff like that. That's why it pains me for doing this with just a stock setup, right? It's like, okay, let's see what this is gonna do, right? Because you know, again, it's freaking just the balanced setup, right? So I'm running like 5 wing, right, for the rear, 5 or 6 wing for the rear.
If you want to know specific information or make certain changes to the car during a
Park
pit stop,
for me,
you can tell me
proper.
what you want over the radio.
Just go out and do a
Press and
flying
hold
lap
the
so you
radio
get the
button
most
to
time.
activate the system, and you can.
Yeah, I'm not breaking at the 50-meter board like freaking Hamilton can. Return to garage, and I think actually Stroll's like right around where I am, so I mean, realistically, if I wanted to just do a race just with the stock setup, it would be a super competitive race. I'd like to be fighting to, gain a position here and there. It would be good. And like I said, I set that to 75,
That's
so
good. We're looking
not
at a
bad
dry
for a
session.
default setup, So we'll look at the times, but I'm thinking we're within about 0.3 of a second between the two of us. Ah, look, don't even have a tenth between us, right? I got a 125.85, and he's got a 126.37, right? So, half a tenth.
So far, our fastest lap is a 1 minute 20.5.
Now, see, I'm supposed to go back out and do some more laps. So realistically, you got to think that time's coming down to probably a high, probably a 19.9, you know, right around in there. I can't see it being any quicker than that because it is the racing point, right? I mean, it is not the actual Mercedes, right? So, but I'm gonna make sure to change tires. God